All right, we'll move on to our subject of the day, which is intergenerational co-housing. So let me introduce Gail Schechter. She's the Executive Director of H.O.M.E. Home has long been working to provide housing for seniors and low-income persons. She has the experience of operating several intergenerational housing buildings in Chicago. So welcome, please welcome Gail.
I guess I'll stay seated because this thing is going to follow me. So
Just speak up.
thank you very much to all of to Fran and to Dan and everybody here at NORTHSIDE AARP. And I want to acknowledge that to keep me honest here, and you know that I'm telling the truth. It's from both our intergenerational buildings, the Nathalie Salmon House and the Pat Crowley House. And I'm also happy to see my colleague of many, many decades, really, Ori Petty, back in the day that we ran fair housing organizations. And in fact, that's one of the things that attracted me to HOME, which stands for Housing Opportunities and Maintenance for the Elderly, because our founders had said, life doesn't segregate by age, so why should we do so in our housing? And considering that we were dealing with segregation, that this next frontier, not segregating by age, and it was very appealing to me. So I'm very happy here to talk about intergenerational housing and co-housing. And you can go to the next slide. That's actually our Pat Crowley House. So these are not stock photos; these are real pictures. So. Yeah, no, that's fine. So I'll talk a little bit about HOME very briefly, then I'll talk about our intergenerational housing model. And I know a lot of you are very interested in how this connects up with intergenerational co-housing, and I'll talk a little bit about co-housing. And then I like this quote from when before we even built the Nathalie Salmon House, which is our 53-unit building in Rogers Park. It's 30 years old this year. And this was in the prospectus, and I love this quote, that the idea was to create an innovative communal possibility for a new and different lifestyle, fostering companionship and friendship by offering the residents the opportunity of caring for each other. Yes. I mean, the idea that we're centering caring as part of a housing model is that's really at the heart of what shared housing is. You can go ahead. So HOME, I think it's very important to say what is actually our vision, why we do what we do. And it's to have a Chicago in which people of all ages live together, but also centering older adults within the community. So not marginalizing people by age, which unfortunately is often the case. And then we're proud of all of our different distinctions. So I'm going to talk about our intergenerational housing, but we also have community programs. We do home repair for low-income senior homeowners on the south and west sides of the city. We also have a shopping bus that serves about 30 senior buildings throughout the city of Chicago, including Chicago Housing Authority buildings. And then we do, this is like our best kept secret probably, we do moving assistance. So if you're an older person and you're moving within the city of Chicago, we will actually underwrite your move.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks to philanthropy. We just got a new grant from the city of Chicago to help seniors move from what's called trouble buildings. And we'll see how that works out. So, yes. So anyway, go ahead. So our intergenerational housing, our motto is, as I said, it's a philosophy of life, of how to live. It's a housing option, obviously, an approach to healthy living, and also a way to build community. So HOME, our feeling is we don't just house people. We create community, and we create, healthy minds and healthy relationships, family. So next slide. So that's actually in our Pat Crowley House. The little boy there is now about 8 or 9 years old. Yeah. So, yes. And so see, a lot of people think intergenerational. They think like an elderly person and a child, but to be intergenerational, you have to have 3 generations. You have to have at least 3 generations. And that's what we have in our housing. So we have older people, middle-aged people, children, younger people. Our housing, we consider it because our orientation is older people. So we see it from the lens as this is an alternative to senior-only housing. So it rather than Judy had lived in our Pat Crowley House. And yeah. And then, we try to be appealing as a community for people of all ages. But another aspect of our housing and a lot of intergenerational housing is that it centers around a vulnerable population. So for us, it's lower income older people, but there's an intergenerational community in central Illinois in Rantoul. And it's interesting because their target population is foster children, or children going out of the foster care system being adopted. And so they've created a really cool community there. And there are older people there who are helping the families. So we can go on. So I'm just sort of, summarizing this, but when we built the Nathalie Salmon House, our concept was, this idea of a village concept, which is in a lot of cultures, whether from Africa, from Europe, from Australia, that everybody thrives living in a village atmosphere, that it improves the quality of life to live in a sort of a home-like environment where people of all ages assist one another. And then we wanted our housing to be a model for others. And these are our 2 buildings, just showing you what they look like, very different. A rehab of a 110-year-old building, 6 flat.
And what's
And
the
the
name of
other,
that building?
that's the Pat Crowley House.
Okay.
And then the Nathalie Salmon House is new construction. And the kind of the claim to fame of the Nathalie Salmon House is that the actor Bill Murray put money into it to make it happen. He was at the height of his fame. And you can go to our website, you can see a little video he did. Just after he filmed Groundhog Day. Keep going. So Good Life Senior Residences is essentially a fancy name for intergenerational shared living. So essentially it is, where we have family style housing of shared meals, the Nathalie Salmon House, that's the 5th floor, that's the top floor, where we have a room for about 14 older people and 4 younger adults. And then, and it's all of the Pat Crowley House. But what's in common is this common eating, common, and common activities and doing things together. People who are often attracted to this, somebody was talking earlier at lunch about, not wanting to be isolated. So this is great housing for people who just don't want to live in an isolated situation. Elder orphans is what our housing director, the term she uses. You can go on. So just very quickly, how are we staffed? So that's the kitchen at the Nathalie Salmon House. We have, a Good Life manager. So somebody who manages that floor or the building. A cook, resident assistants. We have a property manager, and obviously we do maintenance.
So the residents cook as well as the cook?
They could, on the weekends, the resident assistants often cook, or we can have, if you ever want to volunteer, we always welcome guest chefs. Seriously, people that might want to cook lunch or dinner on a Saturday or Sunday. We also we try to be part of the community, we invite the community in, so we get like a lot of nursing and social work students coming in. That's our community room, and community group. So we try to do both, bring the community in and also help residents get out in the community too.
Where do the nursing and social work students come from? What?
Loyola is a big one. UIC is another.
And
Yeah. Rush, we get occupational therapy. Yeah, thanks.
2 days this week, I hope, today and tomorrow.
Yeah. Go ahead. And then, we take folks on outings. Each building has a van. We just got a new van. And, we go everything from, the Olive Garden to the Botanic to, DuSable Museum. We've, gone many places, movies, these. Keep going. So when we also, this started during the pandemic, we started doing a resident association where residents themselves are organizing activities, writing each other get well cards and, everything like that. Constance was the founding lead on the first RA residents.
We also have a writing group there. We are on a third group.
Oh, yeah, there's a writing group. And then I just want to quickly talk about the importance of design. I'll just kind of go through these quickly. It is very important when you're doing co-housing, intergenerational housing, that you maximize community spaces, big and small. It could be the patio here. You can go to the next one. There's the dining room on the left of Nathalie Salmon House. In the middle there is the parlor at Pat Crowley. These are very different looking buildings. We have terraces or patios you see on the bottom with the green chairs at Nathalie Salmon. So we have, everything from little nooks and crannies to larger rooms. Because people, you can still go into your room or your apartment. Nathalie Salmon House, by the way, the first 4 floors are regular independent, apartments. The 5th floor is the communal, but each floor has some communal spaces. And that's essential for creating intentional community. And then here, during the pandemic, we wanted to come up with in that photo, the man in the middle standing up is an architect to redesign, that drawing there is by a resident of reimagining what our garden room would look like. And I am still committed. We got to raise the money to do it, but, to recreating a nice garden room.